Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Good morning. Just woke up, stuffed up as always during the springtime. But anyway, we are looking at a brand new hand trap. I gave this card a quick read as soon as I got up and checked YG Organization. They do an amazing job with news, by the way. This card's interesting. I like the artwork on it too. This is a level 4 water aqua hand trap card. It's really interesting. We'll get to that in a sec. I do want to point out before we even get into that stuff, level 4 water aqua is pretty cool to me. I think that's an interesting extra synergy kind of type card for a deck like Sharks, I think, for example, where like even if you're not even able to use this card or it's kind of stuck in hand, just like how you normal summon any of the level 3 tuner hand traps in like Kashtira to just make Barone, kind of like that. Normal summon this, have any level 4 water extender, and boom, you can get into Bahamut Toad or Stealth Kragan, which is pretty cool. I think that extra synergy like can matter. That makes the card like never fully dead. It's always at least half a material of one of your boss monsters. So that's cool. Anyway, getting into this thing, this is Molchummy Perulia. Weird name. Level 4 Water Aqua, like I said, 100 attack, 600 defense. Pretty poo stats. You can only activate the effects of other Molchummy monsters once during the turn you activate this card's effect. So I guess this is saying that this card is not hard once per turn. It means you could potentially activate 2 of this in the same turn, which is interesting. Or maybe potentially they're going to print more Molchummy cards down the line that are also like hand trappies. So that way you could use multiple, but you can only use 2 in the same turn instead of more than that, because that's basically what this is saying, right? You can use this one, but you can only use one other Molchummy, which could be based off of this. I think it's saying you can use another copy of itself, so that's interesting. Here's what it says. First effect, only effect really. If you control no cards, quick effect. Discard this card, apply these effects for the rest of this turn. So very Shifter-esque here, giving me vibes of that. Each time your opponent normal or special summons a monster from the hand, immediately draw 1 card. Okay, we are in Maxx C territory for certain right now, right? But clearly this is way worse than Maxx C, because whereas Maxx C is all special summons, this card is just a fraction of that, maybe a third of that-ish, right? People summon from deck, people summon from grave, people summon from extra deck. Maxx C encompasses all of those, whereas this card is only decks that are special summoning from the hand. Oh, it is normal, too. Oh, that makes this better. It's normal or special summon, so even normal summons gets you this. So this is a card you probably shotgun no matter what, because a lot of people's first action is going to be normal summon a monster, and you don't want to miss out on that. That adds a little something that Maxx C doesn't catch, but it's obviously it's still less than Maxx C. Interesting. Second effect, during the end phase, if you have more cards in your hand than the number of cards your opponent currently controls, plus 6, shuffle random cards from your hand into the deck equal to the difference. That is a scary result from this card potentially. Now I don't think it'll come to fruition that often. Something you have to kind of keep in mind is like, think about the math on it, right? If you drop this card out of the hand, that already puts you down to 4 cards. And this would be going second. There's like, you have to control no cards to throw this down, and it's only for the rest of this turn, not till the end of the next turn. So you can't really play this card going first. It's only really going second. But if you drop this card on your opponent, right, you're already down to 4 cards in hand. Let's say they normal summon and they special summon from hand. They've given you 2 draws, so you're up to 6 cards in hand. And let's say they just make a SP Little Knight and pass, because they end on 1 card. Once they start summoning, they can't end on 0 cards. Like, it's almost like impossible. Even then, you're only 5 on them. You're up to 6 cards, and they're on 1 on board, right? Because that's what it's counting here. So they still wouldn't hit you with the punishing shuffle. They would have to summon like a 3rd and maybe a 4th time from hand to then make something like an Appaloosa. That's like the other route I could see, where like maybe they get you into that draw for the number 7 card in hand, number 8 card in hand, and then they make Appaloosa for 3 materials Oppo with 3 materials, forcing your opponent to lose 6 cards in hand is pretty brutal, right? But here's the thing. This is all also assuming that we drew this card in hand with no other hand traps. Because that's, like, you know what I mean? If we wanted, we could have just fired any other hand trap from hand. And it's saying we didn't draw on any hand traps either, right? So, like with modern day standards, most people are on like 12 hand traps in their deck, like minimum for like modern day standards. And so, like, what are the odds somebody doesn't have, like, going through 6 or 7 other cards in their hand or in their deck, like, doesn't have a single other hand trap? Even Nibiru is a weird one. Like, even if you end their turn by nibbing them and all they have is a token on field and they're passing, like, you would have had to still have 7 cards in hand after using at least just Nib and Molchummy, which I don't think is that plausible, to be honest. So, this punish here reads very scary. Like, if it were to happen, they could potentially just end on an SP or an Appaloosa and rip your entire hand from you, right? Except for 1 card. But I think when you really break down the math, you're like, I don't know how doable that is, though. Especially if I draw 1 other hand trap from those 7 other cards at least. Like, I don't know if that's happening all that often, or if that's that doable. So I don't know. Cards certainly interesting. Like I said, only really works going second because you have to have you have to control no cards. So going first, just not very abusable. But it is interesting. It's Maxx C adjacent for sure. It's definitely matchup dependent, way more matchup dependent than Maxx C is. But it does feel like every deck is going to normal summon no matter what for the most part. There's a couple decks that don't, but like for the most part, most meta decks, 95% of meta decks have to at least normal. So you can this is at least an Upstart Goblin going second. So that's cool. But yeah, other than that, I'm curious where you guys land on this. I'm kind of perplexed by this card a little bit. It's one of those cards where reading it in theory, it's kind of hard to see until you actually like put it into practice. But I do kind of want to look into that for sure and see if this is a real potential hand trap. I don't think the OCG will play this card much just because they have Maxx C, so why play watered down Maxx C? Pun intended. Watered down, nice. But I don't know. It's something to keep an eye out for. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to get your thoughts on this card. Where are you so far just on first impressions? Does it actually have legs potentially in the TCG as one of those kind of like going second draw hand traps that help you find other hand traps, help you find board breakers too? But with the board breakers, you do just have to be a little more scared of that drawback effect, right? But there is some stuff going on here. So let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think on this card. Does it have legs? Is it too copy? I don't know. But let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more news, by the way. Still coming with like 25 plus, I think, more Infinite Forbidden reveals. But in the next like week and a half, 2 weeks, we still have. We're going to get all the Legacy of Destruction TCG exclusive side cards next week revealed as well as Animation Chronicle just got started. That's ramping up for the next month and a half, 2 months. And also the Duels of Brilliance. Don't know what the 3rd archetype is, as well as the final cards for Tachyon and Trickstar as well. So I'll bring you anything news as it drops. Still very excited, keeping it moving here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.